Welcome to the You on the Camino de Santiago podcast. This podcast is for and about first-time pilgrims walking the pilgrimage routes in Spain, France, and Portugal. With your host, guide and longtime pilgrim, Nancy Reynolds of the Camino Experience. This episode has something for everyone. If you've been dreaming of walking the Camino, my conversation with Pilgrim Danya will likely push you over the edge and inspire you to get your Camino on the calendar. If you're a mom who wants to walk the Camino but can't see how to juggle everything to make it possible, Danya's family has a message for you. And if you have already walked the Camino, I think you will find yourself in Danya's story somewhere. You may remember Danya from episode 148. We talked shortly before she was leaving home and family in Colorado to join my May Camino Experience group. Danya is going to share how her pilgrimage went, what she learned, and why starting this way was the perfect choice for her. And she was definitely not alone in that. Over the years, I've observed that getting started is the most daunting part of walking the Camino. First, there's the logistics overwhelm. Where do you even start? I don't mean which city or town, but what is the first item on your Camino planning to-do list? And what else has to go on that list? How do you get to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port? Not as a general question, but specifically from your front door and home airport. How do you pack for a trip like this? And how much training do you need? And then there is the emotional uncertainty. You may wonder, will I be able to do this? What if I get lost? What if I don't connect with other pilgrims and I end up alone? What if, here's a big one, I get there and realize it's just not for me? Many people getting ready to walk the Camino struggle with these questions, and they struggle alone. I think we need to talk about them to reassure each other that we can do it. Over the years, I've seen so many pilgrims arrive in Saint-Jean feeling overwhelmed and unprepared. I've seen social media telling people the best way to do this is to start and do it alone. But that isn't the right fit for everyone, for any number of reasons. For example, some people will simply never walk the Camino if it means having to do it alone. I hear that often from the pilgrims in my groups, that they never would have said yes to their Camino dream if they hadn't been able to get support from a guide and a group. Not for the whole thing, but just to get started. I've heard from many pilgrims that their families were worried about them wandering off into the wilderness alone, and that having an experienced pilgrim and guide with them gave the family tremendous peace of mind. And it seems as though age doesn't matter with this one. I once had a pilgrim in her mid-60s in one of my groups whose 87-year-old mother didn't want her to go unless she started with me. I've also supported pilgrims who wanted a Camino family, but who were shy or introverted and needed more time to connect and get comfortable with others. I relate to that one. So planning and preparing together allowed them to ease into the family aspect of the Camino. And this last one is hard to imagine before you've even started planning your Camino. I kept seeing how people would come home from the Camino and not know what to do with themselves. Some would even fall apart in a way. There was no support for bringing the Camino experience home. These are all the reasons why I created the Camino Experience, which actually gives you way more than even that. I believe that your pilgrimage begins the moment you say yes, which means planning and preparing is part of the journey. Some people love this part, some don't, but everyone has to do at least some planning and preparing. I believe that the Camino experience is more than just the time when you're on the trail. It starts that moment you say yes, and then includes the planning phase, traveling to your starting point, taking your first steps, walking and arriving in Santiago or wherever you're going, and returning home and integrating the experience into everyday life. I think we need to attend to the entire experience, not just packing, training, and getting to the starting point. I also believe that this is more than just a walk. It's more than the physical journey. It's about the inner journey too, whether you know it or not. And that needs attention too. I believe you can do this. You just might need some support to build your confidence and know you're not alone. And from time to time, as you're getting ready, you may need to be reminded that yes, you can do this. All of that is what you get when you start your pilgrimage with me and a Camino Experience group. Now, what you don't need is someone telling you what's best for you or how you should do it, because I believe you have those answers within. And my job is to guide and allow you to discover your own path on the road to Santiago. If you're holding a Camino dream in your heart and nothing is on the calendar yet, maybe it's time to take the first step. I recently posted the dates for my 2027 Camino Experience groups on my website, and registration is now open. You can learn all about what's included, see if it's a fit for you, and let me know you're interested in joining me on the Camino on my website, thecaminoexperience.com/2027. Now, you don't have to remember that website because it is in the show notes. 2027 is going to be a lively and vibrant year on the Camino, as it's a Jubilee year. That means that St. James' feast day, July 25th, falls on a Sunday. There will be lots of celebrating going on in Santiago around that date. It also means that the holy door of the cathedral in Santiago will be open, and pilgrims will be able to pass through that door and receive a plenary indulgence. In the Catholic tradition, that means you receive a complete remission of temporal punishment for sins alongside profound spiritual renewal. For those who aren't Catholic, passing through the holy door may not carry the same significance, but it gives us the opportunity to perform a ritual that dates back to the 12th century. If you have questions about what it means to start your pilgrimage with the Camino Experience and with me as your guide, I'd like to invite you to join me for a Q&A call on Tuesday, July 28th at 4 p.m. Pacific Time. The details for that are in the show notes too. All you need to do is send me an email at nancy@thecaminoexperience.com, and I will be sure you receive the Zoom link for the call. Okay, let's go ahead and say hello to Danya and hear this next part of her Camino Frances story. Danya, hi. Welcome back to the podcast. I am so happy we get to have this conversation today.
Me too, Nancy. This is just a treasure to be with you and get to relive the incredible experience that I had.
And I just can't wait to talk about it because I had the view of the guide in leading the group and having small conversations and shorter conversations with each person in the group while we were together. But we haven't had a long conversation to really unpack what the experience was like for you. So, you ready to do that?
I'm excited.
Okay, good. Now, I love having a conversation on the podcast with someone I've actually met in Spain on the Camino, because that's rare. And it's even more rare to have it with someone who we did the whole thing together. We got ready together for months. We met in Saint Jean, walked together, and then I kissed you on the cheek and sent you on your way in Pamplona.
We're lifelong friends now, Nancy. So you're stuck with me.
Yay! You know what? I love that I'm stuck with you. Absolutely love it. So we got to talk back before you went on the Camino. And at the time, you were putting together your plans. You were thinking about what kind of experience you wanted, and you were pretty clear on why you were doing this. So we really do have a lot to talk about. How about we put the pin in the map and will you share what you actually did?
Well, I actually outside on the in the physical realm, I kept pretty true to my original intentions. I flew from Colorado on May 3rd and landed in Biarritz. I followed your advice on this slow start, not rushing the start, and had a few days in Biarritz, which I would recommend to anyone. It was a fabulous place to recover from jet lag. I ended up meeting a few of our other participants there as well. We got to eat crepes and take long walks by the seaside and just land on European soil. And from there, we traveled together to Saint Jean Pied de Port, where we met up with you.
That was so fun.
So special. I mean, the excitement was just off the charts. There was so much anticipation, so much just joy, really, is what I felt. This is probably the longest pin in the map you've ever had, but I'm going to give you all the pins. Um, and then, I mean, we can talk a little bit about how fabulous those few days in Saint Jean Pied de Port were with our group, because our whole group met up there, spent a few days really in a deep retreat and in the preparation for the actual start on May 10th, Mother's Day, which is when we walked out of St. John and crossed the Pyrenees. So that was the pin in the map of the beginning, as planned. And on May 28th, I flew home from Madrid back to Colorado, and a lot of things happened between May 10th and May 28th.
A lot of things happened. Yeah. And so, as with any Camino journey, it was things in the physical world. You just described that I started here and I finished here and I flew from here, but there was the internal journey as well, right?
Yes.
Yes. Now you walked as far as, I don't think you said it. You walked to,
Oh, yes. So my intention had been to walk from Saint Jean Pied de Port to Burgos, and I ended my Camino in Burgos as planned, but I did not walk every step in between those 2 points, and we can talk a little bit about that as well because there were some few plot twists along the way, but essentially, I feel like I did what I set out to do, and it exceeded all my expectations in every possible way.
I love that. We do have so much to talk about here. So, Danya, I remember some of our early conversations. You were questioning if this was legitimate as a way to do the Camino, to start with a group, to only, like that's no big deal, only as far as Burgos. And I even went back to one of the emails you sent me early on, way back in August of 2025. And you said, the only little thing that is holding me back is just my heart's question about if it will feel like I didn't do a real Camino if I only go with the group from Saint Jean to Pamplona and then only have time to continue off on my own as far as approximately Burgos for this trip. That was the opening paragraph in that email. So I know it was weighing really heavily on you. Would you talk about that?
Well, it's so fun to have my words read back to me. Like that sounds just like the old me. Doesn't totally resonate now, but that does sound just
Oh,
like the old me,
oh, I love
which
that. The
kind
old
of
you.
alludes to the way the Camino changes us.
Yeah.
So I it's really interesting, Nancy, because before I left and since I've been back, of course, I am getting some, input from social media and different Camino groups and this kind of thing that I know you're very aware of as well. And it just seems like every day there's all this chatter about, you have to do it this way, you have to do it that way, you have to do it the way that I did it because the way I did it is the best way and the only way. And um, it impacts people who are prepping for a Camino. And I'm finding that it, is impactful now after my Camino, even just reading the way that some of those online forums are conceptualizing. what a Camino is. And I think that's where that question was coming from,
Okay.
that there's one way to do it. That's the way to be legitimate. That's the way to have the full experience, to have the full whatever it is. And I know for sure it is one way, but one of a million plus possibilities. And what's so remarkable, and I really want to point this out and make sure that it gets its full airtime, is that that question of am I a real pilgrim did not come up once when I was on the trail. Not once. I didn't have somebody judging me for my distances. I didn't have somebody saying, oh, you took a taxi from here to here. That, I mean, there was none of that. And I really want your listeners to hear a voice from the actual trail, not from
Yes.
some other, uh, I don't know what, internet gods saying it has to be this way or that way. On the trail, my experience was that other pilgrims were so supportive and so in their journey, right? They were in their journey. It was hard. We were all doing something hard. And nobody was like overly amazed by the hardness that we were undertaking because everybody was in that same river together.
Yeah.
But it's so obvious and so apparent when you're on the trail that everybody is there for a reason. And they might not know what that reason is, but there's this honor, this kind of reverence to encountering other pilgrims. Um, that just didn't leave room for that kind of petty judgment. It's just not there. And I mean, even as I'm saying that, I'm feeling sad that if maybe somebody else did encounter that kind of judgment from the trail, that was their experience. So I honor that it's possible that it could come up, but in my own experience, I never had that. And um, we'll get to some plot twists that I experienced, nothing like over the top dramatic, but I had some injury, foot issues that had to be addressed. And I felt nothing but support from our group, from other pilgrims that I met along the way, from hospitaleros, from restaurant tours, from orange juice makers, from, anyone that I met was just peregrina, peregrina, buen camino. I mean, it was so honoring of that very absolutely individual pilgrimage that each of us were on. There was such, I know I said it before, but there was a reverence for it and an understanding of it. And that just didn't leave room for that kind of judgment. So the entire time I was there on the trail, I didn't I didn't even think about that question. Am I a real pilgrim? And it was funny to have you read that back to me from last August. And I know in my first conversation with you on the podcast, that came up a lot as well. Um, that question has sort of been erased.
Ah, I so love that. I have to always remember when somebody makes a comment like that, like what it means to be a real pilgrim. If someone has walked only one Camino, one pilgrimage on the Camino de Santiago, they have maybe met 200 people. I'll be generous. And they maybe have witnessed or observed 200 people walking the Camino. And then they draw these conclusions about what it is and what's the right way to do it that pulls from what they've seen in that little window. But there are 700,000 people on the Camino routes every year. I can't figure out why a sample size of 200 means what this thing is.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I've been walking for 20 years and I still am learning what this is. We had that call with BB,
Hmm.
and it was just so clear that we have only scratched the surface of what this is after talking with her. Yeah.
I would say this Camino um, was the beginning of a lifetime of Camino. And that doesn't just mean walking on those trails across Spain, but it opened up a new pathway for me to um, learn how to be in community and how to do courageous things that feel exciting and scary. I mean, there's so much. It's we could talk for hours about everything I learned in
Yeah.
that relatively short time. And you pointed out it was a relatively short time. The fact that so much impact in my life could happen in such a short time, that relationships could blossom and deepen and transform ideas that I've held my whole life in such a short time does speak to the power of the Camino.
Yeah. And the power of pilgrimage as well as a spiritual practice, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. You mentioned reasons. Everyone was there for their own reasons. Would you talk about your reasons for walking the Camino? And I'd like you to do it from two perspectives. One is going into it. What was your reason for walking the Camino? And then I'm going to ask you after that, now that you've done it and you're looking back, how would you answer that question? So let's start with going into it. What were your reasons?
So I think my reasons before I left had a lot to do with just feeling a calling, an inexplicable calling to do this hard thing, a physical challenge, a spiritual challenge, time away from family obligations and work. Coming up on my 50th birthday, we talked about that last time. It felt like the right time to mark with a significant physical experience, that there's still a lot of life left to live, and that even though it was scary to undertake that challenge and to leave all of my obligations and um, regular life at home for more than 3 weeks, that it was the right time. So I don't know that I could have been any more specific about my reasons than that at that time.
Okay. Very good. Now looking back, why did you walk the Camino?
Oh, Nancy, that's such a hard question. I know that that's what you're known for, and that's what I asked for was hard and meaningful questions. I don't have an answer at the tip of my tongue because it was such a profound mystery, the experience that I had. But what I can say for sure is that it reignited a spiritual focus in my life, um, prioritizing that above all other things. I guess I could answer it a little bit with a story, which is that before I left, I took some number of people. It wasn't 18, but for the walking days, because I did have a few rest days. So for each day that I was actually doing a walk, I took someone, a friend or a family member that I was going to pray for on the trail, going to kind of have that day be our day that we would share together. And um, it just sounded like a good idea. I didn't really know how that would work, but it ended up just illuminating something for me about life, and that is that um, the Camino is very physically daunting. I want to say it's challenging. I think no matter what your level of fitness is, it will be physically challenging. And when I was struggling with that physical challenge, and I turned my attention toward the person that I was sharing their intentions and their wishes and their hopes and their challenges and their all of that. We were praying together in that spiritual space on that day. It just lifted me. It carried me down the trail. It gave me a purpose. It gave me a focus. Um, Incredibly magical synchronicities happened that were just beyond explanation. I mean, and maybe that's true all the time, but I was looking for it at that time. Like
Mm,
something so specific to that very person would appear before me on the trail in the most unbelievable ways. Um, that it just told me that like when life is hard or when I don't know why I'm doing it, right? Because a lot of times on the Camino, we're like, why am I doing this? This is
yeah.
so hard.
This is
And,
hard. Why? Why? What was I thinking?
and the answer would always come because like if I could turn my focus on my spiritual why, that I'm there to share the benefit of this pilgrimage with the people that I love most in the world. Um, my path became so light and meaningful and magical, and the way just was so clear. And when I don't want to make it sound like I'm this awakened spiritual being, because there were many times that I forgot, and it was, oh, my feet hurt, and
Hmm.
how can it still be 5 kilometers more? That doesn't seem possible. Um, but I could actually toggle back and forth between the way the mind wants to make things hard. And then if I put my focus on my spiritual intention, just what life felt like. And so um, that is just an incredible gift to bring home with me, because the same is true here. The same is true at home, which is that if I have a spiritual intention for each day, the way will be much more clear. Uh, So I don't know if that answers your question. You
I
said, why
love
did
it
I
though.
go? I think I
Yeah.
went to realize that. I went to have that experience of having time and space to make a spiritual focus my main priority, because oftentimes life at home just doesn't afford us that kind of openness of space, time.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's interesting is that isn't what you said you were going for.
I couldn't have known.
Right. Right.
I don't think I could have known in any way, because I don't think, without having walked a pilgrimage, I don't think anyone could know what it's like on the day to day.
Yeah. Yeah. And now you know what it's like for you.
Exactly, right. And yeah, and that's what we said. Everyone's there for their own reasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Definitely.
had incredibly profound conversations with other pilgrims that I met about their reasons. And I just tucked those into the softest part of my heart to carry with me.
Ah, lovely. Lovely. Wow. So a lot did happen on the trail, and it's so interesting to have borne witness to your journey and to be have been in conversation with you for all those months, and back even when you were deciding, do I join the group, do I start in Saint Jean? I think early on you were even considering the Portuguese route.
Mhm.
So all these questions, and then something had you start with the Camino Experience group. What was it that had you make that decision?
Wow. I mean, again, there's a mystical component where I have to say I don't know for sure why, like in a logical way. There was a calling. I remember in our early conversations, you said something about that there was just something unique and electric about starting in Saint John, that the energy is just so um, now I don't remember the word you used, but there was something about the way you described it that just was a match for me. And I said, I need to start there. And you also asked, we talked about this last time, is the energy of beginnings important to you, or is the energy of completions more important to you? So
Yeah.
this was about beginnings. This whole Camino was about beginning and beginning again and beginning again. It wasn't important to me that I didn't come to a completion this time. It was incredibly moving for me to watch some of our Camino Experience friends and the pictures rolling in from as they walked every step and into, Santiago and in front of the cathedral. It was incredibly moving to see that. And maybe there was some little tiny, tiny part of me that said, oh, I wish I had been able to do that or something, but that's such a tiny part of me.
Mm,
The biggest part of me could only just feel the total and utter joy for those people who made it all the way, just to understand the magnitude of that
yeah.
journey
Yeah.
and to realize that I had the perfect first Camino for myself. And it's just getting started. There will be more.
There'll be more. I love that. You got to see, from my view, which is to bear witness to people's journeys. And what an incredible honor it is to hold that space while people are making this journey and making the pilgrimage. It's just extraordinary to bear witness to that.
It really is. It really, really is.
Yeah. And I enjoyed watching you support the others in the group as they continued on. The heart space that you held for everybody, I could just feel it lifting them up and carrying them forward. It was just exquisite.
And it was a gift for me, Nancy, because like as we were just talking about, to have a prayerful focus of being able to pour out from my heart my wishes for them, for their safety, for their healing, because there were some of our group mates who had different challenges come up along the way, and to actually believe, because we saw it on the Camino, that like holding a prayer for someone could actually make a palpable difference that they could feel, was really a gift for me too. So that was a beautiful, well, we'll get into how amazing our group was, but
Yes,
that was
yes.
more than I could have known to hope for.
Yeah, that was really special. Yeah. And so I want to talk a little bit about what actually happened on the trail because you did have some plot twists, you have some challenges, and they all existed in the physical world. There were things with your feet, and there were things I have to take a taxi rather than walk this stage. But there was also an undercurrent in the emotional and spiritual realm going on. So, would you share one of your plot twists that came up and how you handled it? And then I'd like to look at the what was actually going on.
Okay. Well, I wonder if you'd be okay if I read a little excerpt from my journal, because I think it's going to be easier to answer that from the state of mind where I was on the trail versus looking back at it now. So just in the voice of the Danya that was actually there between Zubiri and Pamplona, who was that person on the trail? Would that be okay?
Absolutely. That would actually be quite poignant.
So starting in Zubiri.
I wish people could see your face.
I know, I'm there. When I close my eyes, I'm there. So the day started off strong. My feet seemed better, and I was confident striding out of Zubiri over the ancient bridge, up the ascents and the flatter stretches for the first few hours. Then came a steep and slippery descent, and it turns out that's my nemesis. I took it slow, so grateful for my trekking poles, but by the time I was down, I noticed the balls of my feet were complaining again. Still, I pushed on kilometer by kilometer, sometimes singing out loud along the way. But at a certain point after lunch, the bottoms of my feet were worsening. I began to limp. I started to wonder how would I make it all the way to Pamplona. I walked some more, limped some more, and an inner voice advised me to stop moving and just sit down and regroup. I rested next to a stone wall and sent out a little prayer for guidance on what to do next. Yes, I could have texted Nancy or someone in my group, but they were all far ahead of me at that point, and my sense was that if I waited, the right course of action would come. After only 5 minutes sitting there alone on a country road, an elderly man in a small car came by. He stopped and spoke to me in Spanish with a heavy regional accent and offered to take me closer to my destination. That part of me that would advise my own daughters to never get in a car with a stranger hesitated, but I knew in my gut 100% that it would be safe. Here was my Camino angel arriving just when I needed him. He was so kind, calling me peregrina and refusing any payment or even thanks and offering an impassioned blessing on my journey. So now, Mia and Ella, my daughters, I amend my mom advice. Always, always trust your gut.
Just going to need to take a break here and just let the tears flow. I mean, that was so beautiful. Oh,
And what was funny about that moment is looking back at it now with you, I can see and even then, I knew that was my angel. like I knew it was okay. And still at that point, what, 4 days in, 3 days in, there was still a part of me that said, oh, you got in a car. You got in a car. You broke that. You broke something. But here's okay. So, with a little bit more time looking at that, what happened there was yes, I got in a car and I covered a few kilometers in that car that I didn't walk that day. But I took care of my body. I went straight to the Caminoteca store in Pamplona. I got new inserts for my shoes. I took a rest day the next day and I was able to walk on. And I met so many people that didn't pivot when they needed to pivot and they had to stop or their blisters were so intense that they were held up 5 days or something. My body was telling me, stop walking, listen. Um, it was just that was kind of an inflection point in my Camino because, as you know, because then I met you in Pamplona and had lots of tears over a beautiful café con leche that I'll never forget because it was so delicious. But you and I talked about that, and you were so kind to be able to process that with me because what became clear to me was I needed to walk shorter stages than I had originally planned and I needed to um, really listen to my body. And just, you were like, Danya, that's fine. You just gave me permission. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, sometimes that's what we need. And there also is that disappointment when your picture in your mind is you walking every step,
Mhm.
because there was a lot of emotion going on there.
And maybe you can talk about what was going on from your perspective, witnessing me, certainly not the only pilgrim you had ever met who needed to adjust her stages,
Yeah.
right? There was no
Yeah.
judgment from you about that. But
Mm-mm.
um, yeah, so there's that momentary disappointment, but then there's also I felt like you actually pointed me to a deeper current that was going on.
And I see that as my role, actually, because we can talk about how do you care for blisters? More importantly, how do you prevent blisters? How do you find the right shoes before you go? But sometimes none of that matters. The Camino provides us with things that we need, not necessarily what we want. And it's almost cliche, but I firmly believe that whatever happens on the Camino is part of your pilgrimage. It's part of why you're there. And if you pay attention to it, if you take the time and actually welcome it as part of the experience, then you can discover what's really going on and what message it has for you. So when you had all of that going on, I knew that this is the Camino presenting you with an opportunity to pay attention and to listen and to discover what's underneath what's actually happening.
Yeah, and I mean, you helped me so much with the practicalities of how to create the remaining days that I had and make them just perfect for myself. Amazing. Thank you.
Happy
More
to.
important than that, you helped me point me to my deeper question.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that last time as well. Like, what are my deeper questions? What's
Yeah.
the story that I'm telling? And in this case, it was like, is it okay to do what's good for me? Is it okay to prioritize what I need? How do I even know what I need? And I think the way you phrased it was that really putting myself first was my weakest muscle, not my quads, not my biceps,
Yeah.
but how do I put myself first? That
Yeah.
is a muscle that had atrophied through whatever it is, almost 18
Yeah.
years of caregiving as a mother, but many more years before that of just being conditioned that it's not okay to prioritize our own needs. And there was the Camino giving me that chance to say, for these few weeks, Danya, you get to do you. You do
Yeah.
it your way.
Yeah. And see, when I ask those questions and I initiate those conversations, I trust that you have the answer, but no one's asked you the right question yet.
Hmm.
And so my role is simply to ask you the question so that you can look within and find your answer, because your answer is going to be different than everyone else in the group and from me.
Hmm.
And that's pilgrimage. That's the inner journey of pilgrimage. And you faced that so courageously. You were so willing to go there.
Well, it was really wonderful to have you as a soul friend there on the trail. And I feel so lucky to have had you and all of the people from our group. That was just so precious. I mean, that's another thing that I'm seeing in that chatter, the kind of the internet chatter is you don't need a group, you don't need this, you go by yourself. Well, not everybody needs a group. Plenty of people don't. That's
Yeah,
great for
for sure.
them.
Hmm.
But what I can say from my own experience is that it enhanced my Camino immeasurably. The relationships that we developed, that I developed with you and all of our other group mates, these are now lifetime friends. I didn't dare to hope for this idea of a Camino family. Like I didn't even that's the only way I can say it. I didn't dare that I could have that because I didn't want to set myself up for disappointment. But that's exactly what I got, was deep relationships with beautiful humans that I would not have ever met in any other place. These were
Yeah.
people from all over the world, from all different backgrounds, all different ages. I wouldn't have had the opportunity to meet them in another way, and yet coming together to share each of our own solo pilgrimages together just created a kind of intimacy that is so precious.
Mm. So, do you think you would have found those types of relationships or the depth of those relationships if you'd just shown up in Saint Jean on your own?
Well, I know that I hear stories of people who do, so I
Hmm.
don't want to discount that
Sure.
at all. I'm sure people find exactly what they need,
Yeah.
whether they
Yeah.
like what they get or not. People get what they need and
Yeah.
what their pilgrimage is there to teach them. But just for me, if you're asking me that
Yeah.
question, I don't think I could have gone so deep so fast, in such a nourishing way for my experience without the before time, the way our group connected before, the way then we were able to go into the retreat portion with you in St. Jean, which was so valuable, so profound and transformative, and then start the Camino. Start. Where do we start? Where do we finish? It's all amorphous.
Yeah. 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 Well, and you make such a great point because starting this way is not for everyone. Whether you think you need support or not, some people do, some people don't. Some people love the idea, some people think it's totally not for me. And listen, 50,000 people go through St. Jean every year. I take fewer than 50. So, it's definitely not for everyone. And I couldn't take everyone if they wanted to come with me, although I might have to expand. We'll see. But yeah, so
Well, I mean, I would recommend your group to anyone. Like, if anyone's on the fence, I would just say don't hesitate. Like, if you have this chance, if you have a calling, say yes. And as you said, because you don't have room for everyone who could possibly want to join you, I guess the adjunct thing to that is to say also get support, like take it seriously, get whatever support you need. That would be my advice
yeah,
because I don't think we're well conditioned to ask for support and receive support, and that's something that the Camino teaches. is that we all need support sometimes. Sometimes I'm going to be the one who has an extra tangerine to give to you on the trail. Sometimes you're going to be the one who passes me a can of Aquarius and runs on. Like, we're all going to give, we're all going to receive. I think it's important to take the Camino seriously, as the challenge that it is. I don't want to ever be cavalier about like that, oh, it's, so easy. There was nothing about it that was easy.
Yeah,
And so having the right support really changes the experience.
yeah. Well, and you never know what you're going to get, weather-wise, going over the mountain, sleeping in the bed next to you if you're in the dorm room. You just don't know. You don't know where you're going to get. So I want to ask you, we were together as far as Pamplona, so 4 days on the trail plus those 2.5 days in Saint Jean, and then you walked on. What was it like for you to walk out of Pamplona without me as your guide any longer in person and with your friends, but maybe not walking joined at the hip with the friends? What was it like from Pamplona onwards?
Well, there were slower people in our group and there were faster people in our group, and I was a part of the slower. Proud snail here. Um, my mascot. So those first 4 days, we were all ending up in the same place each night. And after Pamplona, now the group dispersed and ended up in different places. But I was lucky enough to get to stay with two of our friends for several days, for quite a number of days after that. So it wasn't like all of a sudden I was totally cut off from these friendships that had been developing. So Beth and Vicky and I walked on together from Pamplona and ended in Uterga that night at the most charming little guest house ever, run by two sisters who were just so darling. Um, and, what was so great about what happened next was that pretty much every day from then on, the actual walking part was mostly alone. Like, I did see people from our group and actually other people that I had met in other ways. And it was so great to see a familiar face. There's just this uplift of joy when you run
Yeah,
into someone you know on the trail. It's like, oh, like seeing a dear friend.
it is.
You know that feeling, and it's so surprising. You're like, oh my gosh, you're the one from Orson. Like, yes, Dublin, or whatever. You slept on top of the bunk on top of me, and I would run into people again and again, not just from our group, but most of the time I was walking alone,
Mm.
and so that was kind of couldn't have been more perfect for me. I was able to have that solo time that I really wanted, and also to feel the connection that other people were nearby.
Mhm.
And yeah, I don't think it gets better than that.
And when you were with the group, did you walk alone at all, or were you always walking with someone from the group?
I was definitely walking alone with the group.
I like that.
Remember, slow one here.
Yeah. Well, and
Um,
I think that's an important point because a lot of people, when they hear walk the Camino with a group, they think you've got to move in a pack, which
no.
we see that when we see groups of younger people or sometimes even groups of older people who come together and for the feeling of safety and security, they stick together on the trail and they move like this flock, just moving along. And then people are like, excuse me, you're blocking the trail. Or, hey, let me come over here. Hey, excuse me, I need a seat. Yeah, but that, from what I've observed of my groups, that is not how it goes. People find their pace. And in fact, it's one of the really important topics we talked about in the retreat was your pace and how important it is to find your own. So I love
Yeah,
that.
and that was the very first thing that happened for me out of Saint Jean that morning. Because you leave Saint Jean, there's so much excitement and anticipation, and the very first thing that happens is straight up, just
Yes,
a
so
straight
steep.
up steep trail. And a lot of people in our group were just zooming up that hill like with rocket fuel.
Uh-huh.
I was like, okay, all right, okay. Um, and I just decided to take it slower. So right on that very first morning, I pulled away from the group. I followed my own rhythm. I actually went about halfway up that very, very steep stretch. Then I pulled over to the side and ate the chocolate croissant that I had purchased that morning from the bakery
So smart.
and had one of the most beautiful and memorable moments in that green, green French field of beauty. So yes, even when we were with the group, there was a lot of walking alone, and that was just what I needed.
Mm, I love that. Very good. Well, I know we're going to get to talk to your family in just a few minutes, but I have one more question for you before they come on, and that is there anything you'd like to share about your Camino, but I haven't asked the right question yet?
Well, I did want to make sure that while we talked that I could just honor all the names of the people that walked in our group together and that I could just say how grateful I am to you, Nancy, for bringing these people into my life. And I am so in awe of these people. I'm in
Yeah,
awe of their courage. I'm in awe of their strength, their power, their wisdom, their inner fortitude. So many of these people made it all the way to Santiago. Many
yeah,
of them did walk every step, not like me.
yeah,
And I am just their biggest cheerleader. So I want to thank you, Nancy, and your co-guide, Maurice, who were just so generous with your wisdom and your care. And I want to say from my heart to Beth, Vicky, Natalie, Peg, Jennifer, Dave, Marlene, Lori, and Julie that every single one of you have inspired me. You have changed me. You have your own incredible stories to share, and hopefully, Nancy will get you on here to tell your stories. Um,
yeah. I would love that.
but wow, what a group of people from all over the world, from many continents, many age groups. I'm just so grateful. And I want to honor kind of just a deep bow to each of those beautiful spirits
Yeah.
that shared and opened their hearts to me. And that really changed my life because coming home now, I want that. I want to be that way with people. I want people to be that way with me. I want that kind of honesty and intimacy with people to talk about what's real. I'm just so grateful.
Thank you for that. That was a beautiful tribute.
Hmm.
Really.
And then just the other two totally practical tips.
Okay, let's
Do
have
I
them.
get to offer top tips?
Absolutely. Do it.
One is, and I really have to shout out to Maurice, your co-guide, for turning me on to this. He let me know about an app called Polar Steps.
Yes.
I really want to give like 10 stars to Polar Steps. It's a way to, while you're on the trail, keep an online journal and a photo journal and writing. Um, it was such a great way for me to stay in touch with people at home, not on social media, just um, kind of let everyone know I was alive each day and a little taste of what I was doing. And it was really just a perfect, perfect way now to have a record of my big journey. And I can,
Yeah.
when I came home, I pressed print and they actually printed me out a tangible book that I can go back and really just feel so much nostalgia for every single picture that's in there.
And it's gorgeous. I know we can't show it on the podcast because this is audio, but yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. A hardcover book with all the photos and all of your own words and your own voice. It's absolutely lovely.
So I don't get any kickback from Polar Steps, but I just recommend it because it worked well for me.
Okay.
I think there are other platforms that are similar, but any
Yes.
kind of an online journal, I'm so grateful that even when I was tired beyond the beyond, that I just jotted down some thoughts and observations because that's so valuable now.
Wonderful. Great tip.
My other top tip was this is like the most practical thing ever. Nobody told me this, but at the last second, I stuck in a little garment washing bag, like a little for like delicates,
Like a little
like
laundry
a
bag.
little delicate laundry bag. And I was so glad I did that because your laundry takes such a beating and sometimes things get lost. And it was a way for me to keep all my socks together when they went through the wash. So
Love
that's my
it.
other top tip. You don't want to lose your socks or your bra. You'll be in trouble.
So true. I love that. I actually take one too, but it just occurred to me it's not on the packing list, so I'll need to add it.
And my practical tips. I had the highest highs of spiritual ecstasy, but also don't lose your socks.
But you still have to do laundry. Oh, thank you for that. I love that so much. All right. Well, Danya, thank you. It's just seriously, every conversation I've ever had with you has been this level of delightful
Aw.
and this level of soulful and inspiring. So thank you so much.
Well, anyone who gets to go and start their Camino journey with you is very, very lucky.
Oh, thank you. I will do everything I can to live up to that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Do you
thanks.
want me to?
Let's
Uh,
get your family in here. Yeah. Hi, guys. Oh my gosh, you're all grown up since the last time I saw you. You don't even look the same.
and Nancy is so grown up. Mia has to go to work in about 30 minutes. So
I'm
this is
sorry, to
perfect.
work? What are you doing?
I'm working at a pizza place in Boulder where we live.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's the best pizza place in the world.
I love pizza. Like it's my favorite food group next to ice cream. Yeah, cool. Hey, Al, how are you doing?
So well, so happy to be here.
I'm so glad. So glad. Okay, before we get official here, I just have to ask about this podcast camp that you're going to.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So it's like we like make a whole podcast and like record it and like interview people and I don't know. Sounds like it's gonna be awesome.
It's going to be great. I can't wait to hear your podcast. Will I be able to listen to
We
it?
can send you a link.
Yeah. It's awesome. Very good. All right. So, okay. I've just had a wonderful conversation with your mom about her Camino experience. But while she was away on the Camino for 3 weeks, there was stuff going on at home. What was it like to have mom gone for 3 weeks?
Um, it was like kind of like hard and like sad in the beginning.
Yeah.
Then it became like fun and we kind of got into like a whole new groove. We bought an ice cream maker. It was
Well,
an
that was smart.
I know, like when mom's away, why not just like get an ice cream maker?
Okay. Was there a reason why you didn't get one when mom was home?
But she was always kind of a little bit against the idea. But then like she's not here. We want ice cream. It's gonna like save us money in the future if you think about it.
Okay. Never thought about it from a business perspective. That's actually quite astute. Okay. All right. What else? Let's hear from the other side here.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was an adjustment at first, but it was the end of our school year, so everything was so busy with things finishing up and just the end that honestly the time flew by. We
Mm.
had a good time. We
Yeah,
got,
we
like Ella
did.
said, we got into a good groove and yeah.
Oh, sounds like you maybe found your own standing on your own 2 feet a little bit, would you say?
Yeah. Yeah, and I know on the last podcast I was talking about how this would be an opportunity to practice my independence, especially as I'm getting closer to college. And I think it really was a good opportunity where I could really feel empowered to do things for myself.
Yeah.
Hmm. Like what kind of things?
Laundry.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think you really helped with the house and with Ella and with, getting things done and driving places and for
Yeah.
sure.
And Ail, what was it like for you having Danya gone?
Well, I had a wonderful time. I I think what I liked about it is it really changed our routines and our normal day to day and gave us an opportunity for all of us, I feel like to grow and try new things and to deepen in new ways. I feel like the kids leaned into me more, which I like. I think there's something
Mm,
about that that was special and different. And I mean, it really feels like we'll look back and this it was a chapter that we'll remember. It was because it was different than the normal. Usually, you don't remember a month of of a year, but we'll remember it because it was special. It was precious. It was new and different. And I really feel like, Danya was walking the Camino, but we were walking our own adventure here. Like we were on our own journey of discovery of, okay, what's going to happen now when we do things and, choose dinners or whatever. And yeah.
it's beautiful. Yeah, you're your own champion now and able to navigate your own course without mom hanging over everything and making sure everything goes just right. So we're going to put you two in charge. How's that sound? Oh, I should check with mom first on that. Sorry.
What I love about this is that I was so worried about, you know, missing Eyal's birthday, missing the girls' choir concerts. There's always going to be things that get missed in any period of time that
Hmm.
go away. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. Probably you have listeners who are caregivers in one way or another and just,
Yeah.
ugh, there's never going to be a time when I'm not missing something. But to hear from them to say that the time went so fast and it was great for us. I hope people will take that in, and I hope I will take that in.
Love that. I want to ask the girls, what do you think mom was doing while she was away? What do you think she was doing and what do you think it meant to her?
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure, I'll go first. Well, according to her, it was like a big spiritual journey, like helping her like do like walking and amazing. But how I pictured it when she was gone, I was so like thinking about hostels and like farty and like I don't know, but she seemed to have loved it. I don't know. I think she was just
Yeah.
dancing through life.
Well, that's a good way to move through life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Mia, how about you?
I was gonna say we were lucky that we got to follow along a little bit each day with the Polar Steps app. It's
Hmm.
really fun to see your pictures and the photos, and I could just picture you walking the long stretches with like the vast fields and poppies and flowers, and just kind of thinking about your life. And I don't know, sometimes I think when you're just walking and that's like your job for the day, you can kind of let your mind wander and daydream. So that's kind of what I picture her doing.
Okay. Eyal, how about you?
I imagine her making new friends and finding maybe like pieces of herself that she's forgotten and reclaiming and kind of reconnecting with just the stillness and the silence
Mm.
that's not in the day-to-day grind. Um, and I feel like it was palpable when you came back. There's like a sense of like, there I am, so like a more on the spiritual, I think, level, like on the what am I really passionate about? What do I really want to do on that level?
Well, that leads me to my next question, which is who came back? Is mom any different than the mom who left?
Yeah,
How
definitely.
so? Tell me how so.
Well, you could just like feel how like she was more like in her body kind of and like set like more like boundaries of like her being able to like spend more time like writing or like having like, book clubs and just like being more like mommy like.
Hmm. What do you think about that? Is that good for her? Is that a good thing?
Yeah, I think it's like awesome that she's like reclaiming herself.
A lot of wisdom right there.
Yeah.
Mia, how about for you?
Think she came back with so much more like perspective of her life and how she can make it better and happier in the future. I mean, not that she wasn't happy before. I don't know, you can speak to that, Mom, but also just for us and how we can do hard things too. and that sometimes transition or doing something big feels scary, but we can do it.
Love that.
And one thing I see is that you probably shared that you printed the polar steps into a book, and every time you pick up that book, it brings you so much joy. Like there's now this kind of this memory marble that's been made that's full of so much goodness that is tangible, and we can, look back and reflect at it.
Mm. So, you as a family, what would you say to other moms who are thinking about leaving the family at home and going to walk the Camino?
I think they should go for it. Like, like I feel like mom was more worried about us than like she should be. Because like we did great. Like I feel like if you're gonna do it, just like you're dreaming, like go for it. Like you have my stamp of approval.
And that is actually all I ever need
Yeah.
right there. Well, I'm going to get you a stamp, Ella. Ella, stamp of approval. Yep. And then you're just going to bang it down on the table, and we're all going to do big things and love our lives.
Yeah. Like, you do this. You have my stamp.
I love it. Mia, anything to add?
Yeah, I agree with Ella. I think going for it is good because there's never gonna be a better time. And yeah, we did great. And yeah, I think we really grew up in this time, right? And
Yeah.
we got closer. So, and we
Love
love
it.
to have a happy mama
Oh,
too.
I love it.
Feel like happy life, happy wife, happy life, happy mama, happy. Give me a second. I'll
You'll
come
come
back.
up with it. This new catchy phrase. Perfect. So, are any of you inspired to go walk the Camino?
I think so, yeah. Maybe she can take us with her next time because now you know all the tricks and the little things that you might not have realized you needed.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Ella, what do you think? You in?
Woo!
You weren't in when we talked the last time. You were thinking,
I'll go to like Spain and Portugal and France and stuff, but walking in the hostels with trails,
I just wish people could see your face.
and I saw this like pea cloth at REI for the Camino, and I was like,
No, not so much, huh?
yeah, I
Yeah, the
know.
Kula cloth or something like that. Yeah. Okay. All right. So maybe not roughing it quite so
Yeah,
much.
but I'll like stay in a hotel and like cheer them on if they do it.
Right on. Right
Yeah.
on. Every family needs a cheering section. All right. Good to know we can count on you for that.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm so glad we got a chance to talk. Is there anything else you want to share or talk about Mom's Camino and your time while she was gone?
I'm just proud of mom. Like, that's big. And she like did it. Like, clock it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Nancy, I could even just add that, like, feeling proud of myself, the feeling of pride was something really new. Like to feel triumphant, to feel, it was so unfamiliar. I was almost like, what is that feeling I'm feeling? Oh, wait, I'm proud. I did it. I
Wow.
did what I set out to do. And I only did it with the support of my family.
Yay, mama.
I would say to the parents out there that are listening, if you have a curiosity or a desire, do it. And if something is getting in the way, like, well, I can't, it's too much. I think there's something actually about what I shared, like what it opened up for all of us is
Mhm.
an added bonus. And like the kids are saying now, this kind of role modeling that you've done also is huge. And what we've learned that you don't have to do the whole thing necessarily. You can do, what's possible in this chapter and then come back to it or whatever feels right. And so if there is an inkling, I mean, I feel like there's things in life that are like rites of passage. For example, if when you go to college, there's something special about the study abroad or something like that.
Mhm.
It's a precious time that you reflect back on. And I feel like parents should have things like this where you get to take however much time you can take away and remember who you are. And that should be built into the the system, but it's not. You kind of have to make it, and it feels so precious and so like really I think we're still harvesting the gift from it.
So it's really not just for people in their late teens, early 20s. It's for humans that
Yeah,
all throughout life that we have this opportunity to take a closer look or take another look at who we are and what we want from life.
exactly.
Yeah, it's such a great message. Thank you for that. Yeah.
You should get your kids something from the trail. You should like bring them a gift.
Oh, yeah. Did you get any gifts? Did anything come home with mom?
Like, yeah, it's just a cute little pottery bowl that's like pretty and painted. So like bring your kids something home if you do it.
Okay. Souvenirs, essential.
Yeah, very.
Essential. Okay. I'm really glad we got that in. All right, cool. So before we wrap up, I'm just actually curious about one thing that did it make a difference for you that your mom didn't go alone, that she started with a group? Did that make a difference for you guys?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, how come?
Well, I just knew she was like safer, kind of like. Well, I knew she was gonna be like safer either way. But this way, she like could like get off with like a running start, like and like actually like beginning things is the hardest part. And if you start it with other people, you kind of have more like energy to just like get on it and like boom shakalaka, you know?
Love
How
it.
it was. It was totally boom shakalaka with you, Nancy. You're
I
nailing this.
I think I might change my tagline. The Camino Experience, boom chakalaka.
Exactly.
But it's great that Ella, you know that beginning things is the hardest part, the scariest part.
The scariest and most daunting for sure. Yeah.
I think it also, I want to take this opportunity to thank you, Nancy, because it gave me a lot of, peace of mind knowing that no matter what happened, there was a support structure around it. And because being far away and not having done it myself, it was kind of like, what if? And having this was really was huge. I mean, I
Oh,
never felt worried. And I think that's part of the gift of this community that you created.
thank you for letting me know that. Yeah. To know there's someone else who has eyes on your loved one, that if she wanders off the path, someone's going to know right away.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
I
huge. I
appreciate
mean,
that.
that's really huge.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. Well, I have absolutely loved getting to know your family and sharing this time with you. And boy, I hope we're out there somewhere in the world again soon.
Yeah.
Well, you're
Yeah.
coming over for pizza,
I'm
right,
coming for
Nancy?
pizza. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I have a commitment tomorrow, but I think Monday should totally work.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, you guys, thank you for your time. Thanks for hanging out with me. And I'll see you out there somewhere.
All right.
Bye.
Hi, Nancy.
Bye. Thanks, guys. What a delight.
Thank you.